not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show. Happy 2026. We are back and better than ever, back off of our 2-week European sabbatical, if you will, right here. A pleasure to be back with you. A pleasure to have the Advocates back on board for 2026 as your presenting sponsor. And I cannot tell you, we cannot do this show without people like the Advocates. And trust me, you don't think about the Advocates every day, but you're going to think about them when you need them, because when you've been in an accident, it's one of the worst moments of your life. It's a situation you really can't plan for or prepare for. But that's why you need somebody to think for you, to fight the insurance companies for you, to handle the claims process for you. That's the Advocates, 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. When you need them, where you need them, how you need them. Have you been in a car accident? Did you get hurt at work? Right? The chaotic holiday season. It's over. Our kids are going back to school. You're fully focused on work. If you've been in an accident, you get hurt at work. Yes, they handle workman's comp at theadvocates.com. Jake, I don't know how we should start the show. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about Kyle Whittingham in Michigan today. We'll talk about, how Lane Kiffin allegedly is screwing with the Ole Miss opportunity, if you will, to win the college football playoff. But I just wanted to clear the floor and give you an opportunity to apologize to my guy, Aaron Rodgers, who you've spent an entire season slandering. So,
your guy,
Jake, I'm just going to go ahead and open up the floor for you so that you can apologize to Aaron Rodgers, who is leading the Pittsburgh Steelers into the postseason. You said he was dead and that he was ayahuasca OD'd and all this other stuff that just turned out not to be true. So I thought I would open 2026 with just an opportunity for you from your heart, sir.
Yeah, listen, I mean, if you want to talk about a mediocre, quarterback in his day, I mean, he finally had a good game. Finally, actually threw for more than 250 yards in a game. What is that like, Aaron? You still doing that these days? So I just, it's okay. 24 touchdowns, seven interceptions. He's not what he used to be, but he's
3,322 yards. He's no Caleb Williams.
No, I mean, he's no Caleb Williams throwing it down the field in the double coverage and turning it over to lose the game. But, he'll absolutely do, bro. It's fine. It's fine. It works.
But the Steelers are going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to the playoffs. I think, I think that there was a lot that happened in the NFL over this weekend. I mean, I with all due respect, I mean, everyone's sitting here praising the Lions and saying the Lions had some great week. I don't even know that it was all about them. I mean, they played a good game, but the Bears did not play a good game.
We did not. We did not play a good game. I mean, if we're truth telling and all that other fun stuff, no, we did not play a good game. The Chicago Bears are terrible. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity to apologize, which I still haven't heard. And I mean, the floor is open.
I'm not apologizing. The guy needs to do more than get to the playoffs. I mean, you set the expectation at getting to the AFC Championship game. So, with
Aaron Rodgers, I think, listen, before we get to the college football playoff and my humiliation at my fellow Notre Dame fans, I just will say, this is a road paved with ease, getting the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion, at least into the second round of the playoffs. And we're going to talk a lot about this here graphic today, because you look at Steelers Texans in Pittsburgh at the ketchup bottle. There's no reason for Pittsburgh not to win that game.
They should win that game. They should win
Right?
that game. And this is what I say
when they
about
don't.
some of these teams. When they don't,
Monty,
don't
but
come
Monty,
crying
when
in
they
here,
don't.
bro. When they don't,
This
we talk about
show-
them disappointing. You know,
I'm going to
just
tell
saying.
you right now, when they don't win that show, when they don't win that game, this show is going to go full craziness.
Aaron Rodgers is the devil.
He is.
Right? That's
You're
what
not
you're going
wrong.
to say.
He is.
That will
He's
be
gonna
Jake.
roll-
Aaron Rodgers is a devil.
Yeah, he's gonna be full, ayahuascaing on the field, and that'll be the excuse. And we'll just have to come up with another storyline as to why the guy can't get it done in the playoffs, like he hasn't gotten it done his entire career.
Look, he doesn't play for Ohio State, so he didn't have a massive choke job in the play. Oh, wait. Anyway, the point is, wow, that was probably too strong. That was probably that was probably too strong. No holds barred here. Back Monty in the morning and stuff. Been out of bed for 32 seconds. But let's get to college football. Obviously, we'll get back to the NFL. There's a lot to talk about there. But obviously, the big story while we were in Paris and Europe and gallivanting with the hose was Kyle Whittingham getting hired at Michigan. And I think one of the things that I find so fascinating about this conversation is that now all of a sudden in Utah and Ute country and BYU country, all of a sudden now Kyle Whittingham is some kind of a villain. And this is what I struggle with now. We attack people. We attack systems that we all put in place. And I understand whether it's the college football playoff selection committee, whether it is Kyle Whittingham taking everybody and their brother, literally their brothers too, to Michigan from the state of Utah, to be on the staff at Michigan. We created this system. We did. Everybody yesterday on the old tweet machine losing their mind over how much money Texas Tech has already spent in the portal. We created this system. This is what college football has become, because all we as fans do, and this is why I largely tell you, I take my emotions out of my sports teams, because now you got what you wanted, more access. We need more teams, Monty. Well, you got more teams. Well, the kids should be free to do whatever they want. Okay, well, the kids are free to do whatever they want, and now they're the villains. Kyle Whittingham goes to Michigan, takes the job that everybody would have taken, and he's just supposed to go make all new relationships and not hire the people and bring the people that he's spent decades building relationships with to build the best possible staff so he can succeed. So what, he should just go to Michigan and fail? Kyle Whittingham's not a villain. Kyle Whittingham's a professional. Kyle Whittingham, if you're a Michigan fan today, Kyle Whittingham's a hero. And deservedly so, right? And the first comment yesterday was, hero should, that word's overused, Monty. That word should be saved for soldiers. Lighten up, Lucy. Okay, settle down. My point is, this is the system we all created and supported. We all played a big role in making this whole thing that you're all upset about. We created this system, right? And I look at this Kyle Whittingham situation, great hire for Michigan. It is probably the only guy that is bulletproof ethically that you could have hired, right? And you're going to hear from Portnoy, Dave Provo guy, the moral, apparently, compass of Ann Arbor, which is not saying much because he doesn't have one. But the amazing part about Kyle Whittingham going to Michigan is he's probably the only guy that they could have hired that you can't even touch his ethics. The guy has never had even a blip on the radar. Whether it is interacting with women, whether it is interacting with recruits, whether it is how he uses butter knives in his home. Nobody has ever, probably too soon. Whoa, probably too soon. My point is, Kyle Whittingham's beyond reproach ethically.
Yeah, I mean, it is the perfect hire. I mean, I think that it's convenient how the timing all worked out on both sides. I mean, there was so much made about the Kenny Dillingham thing and so much made about, candidate after candidate not being interested in taking the Michigan job, Michigan not offering them because they just didn't want the job. And I think on Utah's side, this Kyle Whittingham leaving situation, I think, has been bandied about. I think a lot of people are quick to say that he was pushed out or that somehow the administration was ready to move on. And I just don't agree with that. I think, and again, it's not, I'm not factually saying this, but just my opinion on it is I don't believe that it got to a place where Utah's administration was just trying to push Kyle Whittingham out. But I do think that Kyle Whittingham's not stupid. I think that Kyle Whittingham understands that he wants to win a national championship before he retires, which is where I think the retire versus resign, situation at Utah was born, right? Everybody was surprised when it was resign, not retire. And I think that Kyle Whittingham has, for the last, really since, I think since Cam Rising got hurt against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, I think Kyle Whittingham said to himself, hey, I'm not going to leave Utah right this second, but the end is in sight, right? I need to find a way to properly leave Utah without burning a bridge or causing drama or just doing it the wrong way. And I also know that I want to win a national championship. And so these two were sort of a match made in heaven because obviously, Michigan as a brand has a lot more relevance, has a lot more stature in terms of the CFP than Utah does. And I also think that the road to the CFP through the Big Ten is a lot easier than it would be in the SEC or the ACC as a coach leaving the Big 12. So to me, I think that Kyle Whittingham saw an opportunity. Kyle Whittingham talked to his family, chose to take advantage of it. And I just think it works for both sides. Now, again, let's not ignore Kyle Whittingham's flags as a head coach. The guy is inheriting a quarterback in Bryce Underwood, who's got some of the worst mechanics in college football as a quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes.
And I agree that he took everybody and their mom from the staffs in the state of Utah in football. But that doesn't change the fact that he's going to have to develop him. And assuming that that's the route they go. I mean, Bryce hasn't gotten in the portal, so I'm assuming that he's staying. But I just think that it's a situation where it's not going to be good enough just to have a stout defense at Michigan and patchwork it on offense like you did at Utah. You want to win a national championship, Kyle, you need to develop a quarterback and you need to have an effective offense.
Yeah, I don't have any question in my mind. This is the right move. This is so far beyond, is this a good move? I am telling you right now, this is a great move. It's not a good move. It's a really good move. We've got to stop, though, vilifying these guys doing the exact same thing we would do. And Utah fan, I have a love-hate relationship with Utah fans. I think that's very...
As does everybody.
This is not somehow now surprising, or I think Utah fan is one of the most difficult fan bases to deal with. I think they're just the victim every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Whittingham is the only reason that Utah football is really even relevant. If we're being honest, you look at what he's done post Urban Meyer, the guy is Utah football. To vilify him now and to be upset that he hired the guys that he played a huge role in developing and mentoring, who have worked around him, I just don't know how does this make Kyle Whittingham a villain? How does this mean that he's done something wrong?
Yeah, the obvious argument is that he rated Utah and BYU. That's what emotional football fan is saying. Oh, well,
but what else is he supposed to do?
Well, I mean, Utah and BYU fan are saying that he's supposed to go out and find other people for his staff. But I just think it's such a flawed argument. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than to say Kyle Whittingham is the reason those guys are in the position they're in, right? Like Kalani, Jay Hill, even Morgan Scalley. Right. I mean, not that, Morgan Scalley has had drama, but he's in that position because Witt's been such a reliable fixture in Utah football. So I just
listen.
think
Wait. Morgan Scalley doesn't have a career today.
yeah,
After the text message scandal and all of that, the racially insensitive, to be kind comments that Morgan Scalley had, Kyle Whittingham battled for Morgan Scalley. We tend to forget that, and I understand why Ute fan is in Morgan we trust and Scalley's our guy. Okay, cool, I get that. Morgan Scalley's probably going to do a very fine job. That doesn't mean that Kyle Whittingham's a bad guy, because he's not a bad guy. It doesn't mean that what Kyle Whittingham's doing is somehow, again, morally bankrupt or wrong or victimizing. But bro, it's not like he went and took every single person off the Utah. Well, he did off the Utah. That's very true. But he took Jay Hill from BYU, right? Like, you look at his staff, he has an elite staff. But who mentored all of those people throughout their career? Who hired a lot of those people? Who got them started? Kyle Whittingham. That's his network. That's his base. That's when you get a job the size and scope of Michigan, you're going to go and make all new relationships? No. You're going to go with the guys who you help mentor and who have delivered you wins.
And they were excited to go.
Yes.
Let's not make it like Dude was dragging them to Michigan. Like, they were excited to go to Michigan because it's Michigan. And I hope that, I really hope for their sake that they can avoid scandal. And I know that Michigan fan is talking about, Witt's ability to run a clean program and, Witt's ability to do all these great things. But with all due respect, dude has jumped in the ocean now, right? Like, we're in a different level of college football now. And I think that I'm not sitting here saying that Witt's going to have Jim Harbaugh level scandal or something, but I just think when you step up in program, that risk tends to go up. You're dealing with more people. There's more expectation. There's more money. There's more temptation across your staff. So I just think that Kyle Whittingham, the best thing he can do for himself is get the quarterback position figured out one way or the other and go out and win games. And I don't expect Kyle Whittingham to beat Ohio State year one. And I don't think Michigan fans should expect him to beat Ohio State year one.
No.
But what I do think you should expect is you should expect this guy to have the best defense in the country. Not in the Big Ten, not in any conference, but the best defense in the country, because there's no excuse now. You've got money, you've got stature, you're in the Big Ten, like, you're a defensive guy. Best defense in the country, bar none. And then from there, you have to be able to run the football and run a proper offense. I will not be sitting here saying Kyle Whittingham's done a good job if they're running for 80 yards a game and putting up, struggling to put up 20 points. That's not good enough. They're going to need to put up anywhere between 24 to 27 points a game for it to be quality at that point.
Do you believe that Bryce Underwood is a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback?
I think he's got the talent for that, but he's nowhere near that right now. I mean, I think that the guy is just a raw talent. He hasn't had development. Everything from his vision down the field to the decisions he makes to the mechanics. His mechanics, in my opinion, are worse than Bear Bachmeier's. His mechanics are some of the worst in college football. The motion, the way he uses his legs, like, all of it. Now,
his throwing motion is terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful.
But if you look at what Jason Beck, the offensive coordinator at Michigan now, you look at what he did with Devin Dampier and you look at his track record with quarterbacks, I have no doubt in my mind Bryce Underwood can win a Heisman Trophy. He's got the talent in him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's got the mentals. He does not seem to be resilient. He does not seem to. I want to see Kyle Whittingham and Jason Beck turn Bryce Underwood into a fierce competitor. I want to see him on the field attacking defenses. And I didn't see that this year because I don't believe I don't think he ever bought into what Butter Knives was selling. Mm-hmm. I don't think he ever bought into that system. I think that he wants to be a dual threat quarterback. There was no better dual threat offense than Utah's this year. So,
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're going to need to fast track him this offseason in terms of mechanics and how he throws the football. Because that's the biggest thing. That, like, you don't need to work on his ability to run the football or run RPO or any of that. Like, he just needs to learn how to throw a football at a higher level. And then I think, yeah, he needs to learn how to read defenses better, because that's like, I think about the Oklahoma game. Now, again, that's Brent Venables, one of the best defenses in the country at that time in the season. So, a little bit of slack, but like, you're in a place where you're the program you're playing for. There is no more excuses. And this is what I think. I hope that Witt embraces this, and I'm sure he does. But like, you've gone from a program that in Utah that should dominate the Big 12 and should theoretically be a CFP team, to a program in Michigan that's a CFP team regularly through cheating or not cheating over the years, and is a program that should have the expectation to win the Big 10 every single year, regardless of what, Oregon or Indiana or Ohio State or any of those guys are doing. You are Michigan. I don't want to hear any excuses on that.
How much? What do you think the top end, as we talk about Kyle Whittingham being hired at Michigan, what do you believe the top end is? Because I do think it's national championship. I think one of the things that so many people don't want to talk about when it comes to Utah, one of the things that so many people don't want to talk about is there is a my favorite term, a glass ceiling in place when it comes to recruiting and talent at Utah. I think it is obviously Kyle's legacy at Utah will be he's never had the best quarterback in any conference he's played in. He's never had the best passing offense in any conference he's played in. His passers and his wide receivers, whether it's Alex Smith, Travis Wilson, I mean, we can go down the list. Cam Rising. He has always had issues with explosive offenses and having elite skill position players who he did not flip to be safeties and linebackers. That's the honest truth. His best receivers in a lot of years, guys like Jake Murphy, great tight ends. And that's not going to win you a national championship. Tight ends now are important. But I think when you look at Kyle Whittingham at Utah, can he break that stigma that he doesn't recruit? That he doesn't recruit the best quarterbacks in the best skill positions. Because he's always had running backs. He's always had tight ends. I don't think he's ever had one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and that includes Cam Rising, or whether he's never had elite wide receiver talent. No. He's never had that. And you look speed, he's had all kinds of speed. You can go to Kalen Clay. Mm-hmm. Right. Remember Kalen Clay, amazing speed, played in the NFL. Kyle Whittingham's a defensive head coach. Does Jason Beck year 2 with Kyle Whittingham change that? We're going to find out, because I think they've lost a lot of talent, but they brought in a lot of talent. I think Bryce has an opportunity with this staff to be elite. Jim Harding is one of the singular best offensive line and schematic coaches in the entire country, who is Kyle Whittingham's former co-offensive coordinator, O-line coach, associate. Like, he is everything. His staff is rock solid. The cap has come off. The ceiling has been risen with Michigan football for Kyle Whittingham. And so it'll be interesting to see if we take out Jabba the Manual and we get rid of Butter Knives guy and we bring in a football-focused coaching staff, and we take out the devil at Michigan. The devil at Michigan is gone now. I think the ceiling and the expectations have to go up. I think that Kyle Whittingham is a significantly better coach than Jim Harbaugh ever was. He's a proven winner in a very difficult climate in the Pac-12. I'm here for it. Does this mean that Michigan's better than Ohio State? Stop. And I'm reticent to play this sound, because I think everybody in Provo, it moves a little bit for you guys, and that's an honor code violation. When you hear Provo Dave talking about BYU, oh, that's right. He forgot what BYU is. No, because Provo Dave apparently now is Ann Arbor Dave again.
We are so fucking back. I don't even know what to do about it. Listen, I was a little worried about this Michigan coaching search. Not going to lie. I was saying, I hope we know what we're doing. I hope these guys in charge, I don't even know who that is, but I hope we have a plan because time is a ticking and I'm getting nervous. You saw Kalen DeBoer. No, I didn't want him. You saw Dillingham didn't get offered. I was like, oh, I would have loved Dillingham. And then what happens? Kyle Whittingham. Yes, Kyle Whittingham from Utah. 2 decades at Utah. One of the greatest coaches in the history of college football. Listen, Provo Dave knows him well. He built a powerhouse, tough, physical, man, Michigan type football. I've heard Urban Meyer. He never dreamed this. I heard Urban Meyer whisper in production meetings at Big Noon Kickoff. Man, that Whittingham's the best coach I've ever seen. And now he comes to Michigan. This isn't just rebuilding, restarting. This is the beginning of a dynasty. The Michigan ethos, the Michigan man mantra, it's back.
Provo Dave. Provo Dave.
Oh my God.
Do you it can't at least BYU fan? And I know we have a ton of BYU fans that listen to this show. And my sincere condolences on Jay Hill, because I think that's going to be really tough to beat, Jay Hill. But do you really want to lay down with a dog like Provo Dave? Because I'm amazed that BYU fan just laps up on this guy's boots. I'm amazed with it.
I mean, I just think it was. Listen, it was classic. Hey, like big personality guy is now on the BYU bandwagon, right? That's what it was. It was like, oh man, Dave Portnoy is now suddenly rooting for us. Dave Portnoy is advocating for us to be in the CFP. Man, what a hero this guy is for us. What a great personality. Let's ignore all the anti-women comments. Let's ignore all the nasty ass things that Dave has said over the years.
You just hate BYU. That's why you're saying these things.
I know. I just hate BYU, and I'm the only one pointing out the fact that morally correct and perfect moral school BYU is rooting for a guy who says and does the things that Dave Portnoy does.
Don't Retzloff this thing up, okay?
Well, listen, dude, bro. I mean, again, BYU is the only one that got left out of the CFP, right? I mean, ultimately, we're just in a spot where I think that people aren't talking about BYU as far as Whittingham goes.
No,
but and Kalani put out the statement and handled it like a professional, but losing Jay Hill that's a big loss, dude. That's a big loss. And I trust Kalani. I'm sure that he'll bounce back. I'm sure that they will be very good.
In Kalani, we trust.
Yeah, in Kalani, we trust. Make BYU good again. Like, we get it. I think that there's a lot that has to happen here for BYU to get into the CFP. I don't think that Utah is going to be CFP good. I think that, all the people saying that Morgan Scalley is just going to do this incredible job and they're not going to lose a step. I think they're going to lose a big step. I think that you don't go from being a DC or an OC to a head coach and then all of a sudden you just have it all figured out. So I think that the focus should stay on Michigan and Kyle Whittingham and the job he does, because he's been here and he's done that. He knows what he wants to do. The stage will not intimidate him. He's been waiting for it. I mean, imagine being in a role for however long, 2 decades, and you're pondering retirement, and you probably talked to your family and you said, you know what, I haven't won a national championship yet. I got to make a move. I don't think
he was pondering retirement. Talking to people at Utah, I think Kyle Whittingham wanted 3 more years at Utah. And we need to set this part straight. Nobody forced Kyle Whittingham out at Utah. Nobody said, you're going to leave now. Get out. Nobody said that. My sources have told me that Kyle Whittingham wanted 3 more years. And Utah was unwilling to do that. And I am also told that Morgan and Kyle had long conversations about this. There was never a time where Morgan Scalley said, if Kyle Whittingham does not retire, I'm quitting. Morgan never said that. Everybody wants to sensationalize these things behind the scenes. what I am told is that Kyle Whittingham was not ready to retire. This past season reinvigorated him, and he wanted 3 more years. And Utah said, we have a contract in place with Morgan Scalley, and we believe now is the right time to make that choice. And Kyle Whittingham was never going to stand in the way. He was never going to force them to fire him. He was not going to put them in an awkward spot like that. So he stepped away. But notice when he stepped away, he never used the word retirement. Kyle Whittingham has as much fire and passion as any coach in the country right now. He's ready. He wants to keep fighting. He wants to keep coaching. To your point, I think he wants to improve the bullet points on his resume.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no doubt that Kyle Whittingham is going to succeed at Michigan. I have no question in my mind. I think he will be significantly better. I think he will be significantly better. All right, let's get to your thoughts. As always, the comment section on the Monty Show. You are welcome. Whether you agree with us or not, please have your words. Who is the first? Jake, who is going to get the first comment of 2025, 2026?
Well, let's see. Let me just look. I just want to go back to the top here. Let's see. Man, there's a lot of options, dude. There's a lot of options.
There's not, though. There's not. I think when it comes to the first comment of 2026 and the red assery and somebody who this particular commenter represent this particular individual,
this guy,
and this guy and all of his stuff.
Bavakwa.
Yeah, Bavakwa. This guy meets the certain criteria to be a man, because this guy's got more chest hair than anybody else on his face. And of course, I'm talking about Mike Smith. That pube beard's amazing, Mike.
Yeah.
The Nan Purse Euro boys are back. Hit the like button. Yes, we are back. Europe was amazing. I see a lot of people in the comment section asking 2 things. Are we a morning show again? And are we carrying man purses? Yes and yes. Europe was amazing. We went to Paris, London, and Paris. It's unfortunate that it happened to be the coldest December on record in the country of France. And I'm not making that up. This was the coldest December ever recorded in France. And it was cold. Not good, but we loved it. And if you follow me on the old tweet machine and Insta Snap Face, the talk and stuff, you saw we had a great time. So yes, the man purse was epic. It was. I fully rocked the man purse for weeks at a time, and I loved every second of it. This isn't America. This isn't,
what?
So yeah, it was awesome. We walked over 100,000 steps, Mrs. Monty and I. I think we calculated it at almost 200 miles we walked on that trip. We'll get into the details later in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have a lot of details on it. So Mike, we are thrilled that Mike Smith is part of our show. Rock and Rant, what a pleasant surprise. Boy, how about Miami?
I don't want to hear you complaining, bro.
How about Miami? Even with the Carson Beck effect, and I'm a big believer, and I think we've talked about this, but I'm a big believer that quarterbacks are your ceiling, right? And I think Carson Beck will ultimately be the undoing, but there's no way to even argue that these 2 wins are stylistically, they could not be more different. Miami beating A&M, Miami beating Ohio State in a shockingly bad performance out of Ohio State. Like, I don't even know how you explain how bad they were. Oh, I know how you explain it. Desmond Bain should have probably gotten way more Heisman Trophy consideration.
Stay hard.
That's how you explain it. Because yeah, my guy, Love my guy. Doug Riley, the question every Utah fan has, does Utah fall back into mediocrity after Kyle took almost all of the offensive coaching staff? I hope not. I think Morgan Scalley is somebody that we've talked about for a decade. And he's been the coach in waiting, I think, before he was born. Morgan Scalley's a Utah man through and through. And if you're a Utah fan and you're upset with Kyle, I'd love to hear it because I don't get it. I don't get it. But Morgan Scalley, I don't think Morgan Scalley is going to fail. I don't. The Chad Carter, hello. Chad, good to see you. Oh, look.
It's the stadium guy, James. Everybody's favorite
James,
TCU
welcome
fan.
back.
Hi, James. So, FTR for the rectum, or the rectory in this case. I don't like
Bro
the
can't
change.
escape it, dude. You are not escaping the butt buzzer 5,000, bro. It's not happening.
Happy New Year to you, sir. Congratulations on losing Josh Hoover from your beloved TCU.
Yeah, aren't you excited? TCU is going to be more ass than they were this year. Isn't that great?
My God, you guys. You look at and we can start mixing in the transfer portal. I don't know what's in the water with Kurt Signetti in Bloomington, but Josh Hoover's going to Indiana. And I think it is high time.
It's simple. He's winning. Give the guy credit. He's winning big games. And I don't know where you come down on Fernando Mendoza at this point, but I do think Fernando Mendoza is.
You do too.
Well, I just think that Fernando Mendoza is a great quarterback, man. I mean, the development, the way he reads the defense, the way he delivers the football. I don't love him running the football as much. I mean, he is capable of it, but I much prefer him pocket passing. But I think that Fernando Mendoza, is a blueprint if you're Josh Hoover. If you're Josh Hoover, you're sitting here saying, hey, I want to go somewhere where I can improve my draft stock because, frankly, again, with all due respect to TCU, it's just not a big enough program right now to highlight someone like that. So why not go to a national championship caliber program that Signetti has built and pull the Will Howard, right? Go to a big program.
Fernando Mendoza is a hell of a college quarterback. I think Fernando Mendoza is a guy who is going to really struggle to assimilate to the NFL game. But he's really good in college. I would take Josh Hoover over Fernando Mendoza. I think that highly of Josh Hoover. But I think that what we've seen in Fort Worth is not good enough. Not good enough. What Sonny Dykes has not built in Fort Worth is not good enough. Yeah. We've got to get over, he took us to the college football playoff, Monty.
How long ago?
Right, that was 1967.
Right?
Okay, I watched Landman. I know what Fort Worth is like.
Yeah.
The point is, Josh Hoover had to leave Fort Worth. He could not stay at TCU. That was untenable. And now the problem is he's going to go to a place where they have legitimately elite defense. And him with an elite defense, and if Sig can add some more outside talent, Josh Hoover's going to thrive there.
Yes.
They're very well coached. Their system is very solid. You're not asked to be spectacular, but you certainly can be. Dude, I think that is one of the best signings. I think he is.
And I do think, as far as, Indiana goes generally, like this opportunity to play Oregon again, I think is a huge moment for really, dude. You spent most of this show complaining we're doing a morning show, and now you think you can call for drops.
Has he really?
Are you serious right now?
You're really complaining. Okay. TCU got a new OC and will run the ball more. That's why Hoover left.
Guys.
No.
Guys, I watch Landman too, and it's pretty cool. Nice tits. Anyway, the point
Listen, the point is he left because he's not going to win there. Texas Tech went as far as Baron Morton could take them.
Dude.
Well,
I mean, perfect display of what we've talked about all year. Couldn't have been. I'm watching this game and I'm like, dude, like where is he? Like, where is the great Baron Morton that's going to save this team? Because again, as I've been saying all year, that defense wasn't holding up, man. Like you have a good defense, but it's not as physical as Indiana. It's not as beat your ass as Indiana's was. And I just think that we saw the difference. And that's what's tough is that you're
absolutely
like you're sitting here and you've got Sorsby now. And I think that's a massive upgrade for you. I think I like Sorsby's not a Heisman winner, but at least with Sorsby, he can deliver the football down the field in a more competent fashion because we know what Oregon's defense presents. We know the challenges, and you just couldn't get it done. And the savage part is going to be when Oregon gets beat on Saturday, because I do think they will get beat. It's going to be because they couldn't keep up in the secondary schematically, and you couldn't figure that out if you're Baron Morton. And that's what I think is going to be just a massive indictment on his reputation and his career, which really sucks for him.
Yeah, I think when you look, I love Indiana and I love Ole Miss. And as great of a story as I think Miami is, again, who's your ceiling? I think as a football fan, you always have to ask yourself that. Carson Beck, he's just not that guy. And I think it's unfortunate for Miami that there's a lot of really good quarterbacks available, and Sam Leavitt being one of them. I think Sam probably signs with LSU today. He's got a meeting there on this morning.
Yeah.
But you need an upgraded quarterback in Miami. It's as simple as that. When you have a guy like Mark Flesher putting up 5 yards a carry against Ohio State, your offensive line's not the problem and your running back's not the problem.
What do you, before we leave the Ohio State thing, because I saw this and dude, everyone was saying that I think the teams in the CFP so far that have had buys are like 1-6, I think it is, or whatever. Like they're not winning the games. I mean, do we categorize that loss as they were off? Is that what that was? Because
they just were not sharp at all.
Yeah,
they weren't. You know what I think it is, and it's hard to get away from this. We're scared to hurt football players, so we do not hit in our downtime. It's a huge mistake. I think you have to find a way. And I don't know what it is. Do you, if you're Ohio State, do you bring in a team to scrimmage you? Do you, I mean, you have to find a way. And I don't know how you do it. You have to find a way to play competitive football, stylistically similar to who your opponent's going to be. And I think if you look at Miami, is Miami a better football team than Ohio State? Certainly not. But Miami was the better football team that night.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not close. Desmond Bain and that defense absolutely ate Ohio State all night long. All night long. And Carson Beck was terribly average. But look how physical they were up front. The Miami offensive line does not get enough credit.
Yeah, they were getting pushed big time.
They were so physical up front. It was incredible. And I think Ohio State fan, and I get this, you were certain that this was back-to-back, and you know how incredibly difficult it is to win 2 national championships back-to-back.
With a freshman quarterback.
And an inexperienced quarterback, and Julian's saying. But I think the season's a grind. I think we can talk about portaling and transferring and recruiting, and you cannot sit 3 weeks and not tackle anybody. You cannot sit 3 weeks and do nothing. It's how Notre Dame won games last year. Frankly, it's how Ohio State, and I'll go to my grave saying this, last year was the greatest national championship run we've ever seen. Because they played week in and week out. And I think Oregon, and I know that we disagree on this, and your boy Throat Slam Dan is, I totally get it. That's your guy.
Sucking a ding dong.
Oregon's a horribly flawed football team. And I'll either be proven right or wrong.
I mean,
But
I
why-
think that their flaws will be on display.
Why did they lose last year? Because they were sitting home playing poker and drinking Pedialyte for 3 weeks and not doing anything. And I think you saw that with Ohio State. I think it's a huge mistake. We have to either eliminate the 20, what is it? I think it's 27
25.
days, 25 days of downtime. We have to find a way to eliminate that, or you have to bring in a team to scrimmage, or bring in a high school team. I don't care. I don't care. You've got to find somebody to pop the quarterback, hit the running back, hit the wide receivers. Football hurts. If you're going to get hurt in practice, it's going to happen. Right? But yes, Miami has phenomenal defense. And you sat around for 25 days and you thought that wasn't going to impact you? Come on. Brandon Butler, Day's teams have always been soft and lose to more physical teams. I'm not even going to argue that point. It doesn't help when you're soft and you sit around for 25 days. I'm a huge Ryan Day guy. What he's built in that staff. Matt Patricia is not a soft. That defense is not soft.
The defense isn't soft, and it's a pretty damn good reload year, dude. I mean, I think if you were sitting here saying that Ohio State was going to win the national championship back-to-back years with Julian Sain at quarterback, with all due respect to him, because I do think that he's phenomenal. He's going to be a savage this next season. Like, he's going to be really good. But to sit here and like criticize the performance this year, you got to the CFP in a reload year. Let's be real. So I don't have any issue with Ohio State. I think that my issue and what we're inevitably going to talk about on Monday is that Dan Lanning is going to disappoint again. And I think that the Danimal, Danimal.
Dan the throat slammer?
Yeah, Dan the throat slammer, package peeper, that guy. It's going to be a disappointing finish to the year, dude.
You don't get to do this.
Do what?
Especially not with Eric and Raleigh back in the membership. You don't.
Let me get the button out for the first time this year here.
Yeah, I've heard that about you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't get to completely acquiesce and back away from throat slammer Dan.
My fucking ass.
Yeah, you don't get to do that. What? Oh, Dan's going to disappoint. Oregon's going to disappoint. Duck hunting season, bitches. You don't get to do that.
Why?
Because you've sat here for a year and absolutely throated Dan Lanning and how great he is and this team and oh my God, and I love the Ducks. And let me tell you about some duck confit. Look, guy, you don't get to now say, oh, they're going to disappoint again.
Well,
no. Just like you don't get to blame Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers making the playoffs. You're not going to sit here and be like, oh, man. No, he's not.
What? I'll go one step further. Dan and A-Rod can climb into their little hole after they get bounced from the playoffs.
Oh, now they've got little holes. How do you know? The point is you're being ridiculous. Yeah, that's quack. That's exactly right.
Listen, I think we've never disagreed on the flaws of Oregon. What we disagree on is Dan's ability.
You freeze, baby.
His ability to coach his team in a way that allows him to overcome some of that. Again, I think when you're coaching against Curt Cignetti in Indiana's style of play, you're going to have a real tough time beating that team if you're unwilling to stop the run, which is exactly why they came to your house and beat your ass, because you couldn't stop the run. So I'm not going to sit here again, it's just the truth. Do you think I want to be saying that? No, I don't. No. I would rather be saying Dan's better than Curt.
Oh, God, Dan's so luscious. Oh, I love Danny. Oh, Danny.
Yeah, he's
a hoe, and I want that known.
I wish that we could be saying that Dan was going to beat Curt, but I just don't buy it. It's going to take
Dan.
It's going to take them figuring out how to stop the run.
It's all about that deep, Dan.
Yeah,
macaque.
You are not allowed to do that. It's fine.
Okay. Whatever.
It's fine. You can't do that. I agree with the D-Rock Irish top 4 host games. I don't know how you fix this. I don't know how you fix it. Everybody keeps talking about 16 games we're going to have. And I want to get this out of the way. I am a passionate Notre Dame fan. I love Notre Dame. I hope Marcus Freeman gets an NFL job when all 38 coaches get fired today. He's not the guy at Notre Dame. And you cannot sit here and you cannot infect Twitter with your nonsense. Oh, see, Alabama sucks. Notre Dame should have been in. Okay, well, how do you fix that? Go to 16 teams. No, I know. Novel concept. Win the only 2 games on your schedule that matter.
Yeah, we're not making any changes.
I'm not trying to get exotic, and I know people, but apparently this is hard to comprehend. Win the only 2 games on your schedule that matter. And don't have your athletic director out here talking about the greatest 10-game run in the history of college football, because that just never happened. Right? I mean, we're running. Look, I understand Pete Bavacqua is running Venezuela now, but listen.
Bro's on his lawn chair on the beach in Venezuela.
Bavacqua can't lose the only 2 games that matter. And cry foul about the system that kept them out. We lost the Texas. How quick was Texas A&M? I can't remember. Was Texas A&M in the college football playoff? Because I don't seem to remember that. Oh, Miami, money. Well, Miami's won 2 games now, and
Alabama's the one. Alabama's the one that you should be talking about as a Notre Dame fan, because I agree with you. Win the only 2 games that matter. We don't have to talk about this. Completely agree. We've talked about that. I think we've all been in agreement on that. But
and I want to make this clear, though, real quick before you rip Alabama, because you love Dan Lanning. You lost. You started 0-2 with Miami and Texas A&M. And your best win after that was USC, who you don't want to play anymore, or who they don't want to play, whatever it is, which is a travesty of justice.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, you can't lose the only 2 games that matter and then talk about a historic 10-game run that includes Navy, Syracuse, and Boise State.
People are misinterpreting what I'm saying.
Boise State's not on anybody's 10 greatest games we've ever won. Steve Angeli and fucking Syracuse. Get out of here. Like, it is so frustrating to me that at Notre Dame, we will not tell the truth because we think Jesus is going to hop off that cross and rework the college football playoff to make sure that his favorite team gets in every year. Well, he did that, and we still lost the only 2 games that matter. Anyway. I could go on. I'm so frustrated with it.
It's so tired, frustrated, no doubt.
Jimmy Otson, Notre Dame loses their September games because it's hard for them to schedule the P4 once conference play starts. The first month Notre Dame games are the only ones that really matter. Well, and I think that's going away now, because if we start looking at Notre Dame's schedules, bro, have you seen Notre Dame's, like, their 2020? Let's just look at 2027. Okay. You look at Notre Dame's 2027 schedule. It's a great schedule. Purdue at Michigan State, both Big Ten teams, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Navy, BYU. That's the shell of your 2027 schedule. That is a really good schedule. You look at even 2026, Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, and now the penis car wash at Michigan State, because they hired Pat Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want the best people.
Purdue, North Carolina, Navy, Miami, Boston College, SMU, Syracuse, Stanford, BYU. Weak. If you don't go undefeated with that schedule, I don't even know what the point is. What is the point? And I'm trying to get to that Notre Dame Miami game at the stadium in November. But if you don't go undefeated with that schedule, what's the point of playing football at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, there's just no. You're supposed to be this great program. I mean, you should run the table, no doubt.
What are we even doing?
And
right?
by the way, as an independent, you get to build your own schedule. So there's also that advantage.
You gotta end the year in Provo with Provo Dave and the Cougs. Provo
Dave, that guy.
Provo fucking Dave.
Yeah.
No. My point is, come on. Jay Chapman, how do you guys feel about Notre Dame replacing USC game with BYU? USC doesn't want to play Notre Dame. And I understand it. They want to play that game in September. Notre Dame can't play USC in September.
Well, I'd want to play Notre Dame in September, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't I love to replace the Rice Owls with USC? Yes. Yes, I would. Does that benefit Notre Dame? No. No, it does not. But I don't disagree with USC's thinking that because what you're saying is what USC is saying is we don't believe that we'll beat Notre Dame every single year we play them. When did that happen? And this is the stuff where I tend to agree with Jake about Lincoln Riley. This is soft ass stuff, man. This is what's the old drop we used to play when we played drops on this show? Soft person tendencies. You're dodging Notre Dame.
100%.
This is a soft person tendency.
100%.
Which is
Soft person tendency.
This is the problem. Wow. This is the problem at USC. You are soft. You have all this talent. Take the excuses out of the way.
Can't back down.
Right? You got to take the excuses out of the way. And if you're Notre Dame, when you have a contractual obligation to have this many ACC teams on your schedule, and obviously Georgia Tech being very, very good helps. Miami going to the college football playoff and winning multiple games
Florida
helps.
State should be better if you can get them on the schedule at some point.
And they have been. And you start looking at future schedules, you would think as time goes on that when you start seeing that Auburn's on the schedule, Va Tech should be much better now who's on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You start looking at Miami and Pitt on the schedule going forward. I think in 2028, don't we open the season with Texas at the stadium? Notre Dame's not having scheduling problems. They wanted to play USC. It just didn't work out. You know, USC wanted to play Notre Dame in the week Notre Dame is scheduled to play Wisconsin. Indeed, they did. And listen, if I am, and I will continue to say this over and over, if I'm USC, I am not, what's the right way to say this? If I am USC, I am hesitant to play Notre Dame past October 1st. You're going to lose to Notre Dame most years with Lincoln Riley. You're going to. I hate to say that because I think Lincoln's a hell of a coach. But I think you're going to lose to them most years with Lincoln Riley because Notre Dame, and I think CJ Carr has shown this, Notre Dame now can pass the ball at a very elite level because they've done a really nice job of developing CJ Carr. The question is Marcus Freeman the right guy to lead this program? And we'll figure it out. But it'll be interesting for sure. I guess the home of the Big 12 isn't going to talk about how Texas Tech got beat worst. Who's the home of the Big 12? Who are you talking about there? Then JMU, which seems to muster 30. Okay, JMU had no business being in the college football playoff. I'm not sure what Texas Tech and JMU have to do with each other.
This is the problem, dude. And let me just get through your BS. When you're trying to hate by calling us the home of the Big 12, apparently.
Is that what that
I'm
is
guessing
a reference
that's
to?
what you're doing here. You're saying that we're a Big 12 show, and we're avoiding talking about
Kevin Stefanski fired by the Browns.
Finally,
he's going to be. I'm telling you, he is going to get another job almost immediately.
Yeah, well, maybe the Falcons can pick him up and waste another 5 years of his career. But
I don't disagree. With that
this
anyway.
is what happens when you hate, dude, and this is who you've always been. So I'm not really sure what you thought you were doing here, but I think we've been pretty transparent about Tech's struggles and specifically Baron Morton not showing up in big games in road environments or neutral site environments. I think we've been pretty clear
I think I spent the last 3 weeks pissing off Texas Tech fans by saying Baron Morton's the ceiling at Texas Tech. The defense is elite. And I don't know if how many of you follow the portal. Texas Tech is significantly better right now today than they were at any point in this season. Brendan Sorsby for $5 million. If Brendan Sorsby's on that team this past season, they go undefeated and they're still playing football. So, I mean, we can sit here and we can, it's fine. Heard it took only 15 minutes for Notre Dame to get a home-and-home series with BYU after the USC discussion failed. It was in the works for months and months and months. They were trying to find a mutually beneficial game. And much to Kalani's credit, because I think it's a huge risk for BYU to play that game in 2027, I think is the game at Notre Dame. That's a huge risk, almost no matter when you play that game. And it's a huge risk for Notre Dame to go to Provo next year, because that's going to be an incredibly difficult place to play. It always is. That's going to be a national TV spotlight game for certain. But, Pinky, Ohio State wants to play Alabama, but there is talk that Bama wants out of that agreement because the SEC is going to 9 conference games. Well, as I don't think they want out of that game. What I think you're going to see happen, and I've said this for months and months on this show, you're going to eliminate Mercer. You're going to eliminate your mom's, Montessori school, right? We're not playing Montessori schools anymore in the SEC. You're going to you have to eliminate that, and you're going to play all P4 games. That's what we're doing. Eric, you have a great day as well. Big Blue Horses. The committee will overlook early season losses. That's not what happened this year. Is that what happened this year? And this is an interesting conversation because a lot of people agree with this. And I think the On 3 guys are the ones talking who started this.
Mm-hmm.
When in history has the committee overlooked early season losses? That hasn't happened. Why do you think Indiana doesn't play anybody? Why do you think Ohio State doesn't play anybody? Because they don't want to lose. Notre Dame lost the only 2 games of the year. Those were the first 2 weeks they're out. The committee doesn't overlook losses. There's bias built in. What has to happen, and this is exactly, and I know you guys don't want to hear this, but this is what Lord Sankey has been talking about. And that is that you have to, at some point, judge a team for what they do on the field, which means you're not going to overlook early season losses.
Yeah.
Right. And it is his entire point in that bite where he talked about wanting ideas going forward. You listen to him talk about strength of schedule, this infamous bite, or even like the super conference, because there's been this huge argument that the SEC is overrated, and look at if one more person says, oh, they're not winning the non-playoff bowl games. Oh, I told you they were frauds. Who gives a rat's ass about non-playoff bowl games? Oh, I want to take my wife to the Gulf Coast, or everybody absolutely being swole. Everybody being swole over, oh, Monty, the TV ratings. Oh, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Who cares? Who cares? What did you get out of this? And I'm being deadly serious about this. 100% I am asking you, what did you get out of this? Oh, well, we got 8.7 million viewers. Told you Notre Dame was a fraud. Okay, how is Notre Dame a fraud? Because you got 8.7 million viewers. Where are we putting that banner for the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl? Where is that banner going to hang? Do you even know who played in that game? In the Rate Bowl? Yeah, rate these nuts. right? Like, are you out of your mind? Who cares about non-playoff bowl games? Who cares? I don't. I'm not watching. I haven't watched a single bowl game outside of the college football playoff. Do you know why? They're meaningless. Dudes aren't playing in those games. Oh, Notre Dame's a coward. Well, and they also want to get their guys ready for the NFL. Who cares? Oh, 8.7 million viewers. Cool. Well, Kalani throwed it a Pop-Tart. Cool. That's awesome, dude. Great experience.
Length and girth.
For what? For what? If we're having a real, because I think it is really fun if you are a diehard. I can't say Oklahoma State because you guys are just ass. But
we're keeping a buck right now. We ass.
You know, if you're a diehard BYU fan and you want to go on a trip and you want to go have fun and you want to take your kids and eat Pop-Tarts, and I think that's great. That bowl game meant nothing. From a competitive place, it meant nothing. From a money thing, it meant nothing. Would you rather have been in the college football playoff? Of course. Does the Pop-Tarts Bowl make that feel better? Probably. But I've said this repeatedly on the show. I don't want participation banners. Cool, you going to put the Pop-Tarts trophy in your little trophy case? No, thank you. The only trophy I want is that picture of Kalani face slamming a Pop-Tart. You want to hang that in the hallways? Great. Fun. Cool. Great memory. I'm happy for BYU and I'm happy for BYU fans. I think those memories will last you a lifetime. It was meaningless. It was meaningless.
Yep. Couldn't have said
There's
better
no
myself.
redemption. There's no redemption. Doesn't matter, in my opinion. Wish people would quit crapping on the other bowl games.
Well,
We don't take any shit.
Those bowl games suck. I gotta tell you something. I got the Hershey squirts. I'm all about the Pop-Tarts.
Couldn't have timed that one better, Mike. Plenty of fans like the other bowl games. Just because you don't care does not mean others don't care. But what does it mean? How many BYU, any matchup outside of the two teams playing in that game, who watched?
yeah, I mean, listen, I think
Come
with the
on.
bowl games, what needs to happen is the CFP needs to have a model that continues to accommodate the bowl games, but they're CFP games. They're not meaningless bowl games. That's what it should be. That to me is the most ideal fix for everybody involved, right? Like keep the revenue flowing, keep the events getting paid, or keep the venues getting paid. You know, and maybe you can't accommodate like every single bowl game on the list, but I mean, if you could have, if all these, like, even if like 3/4 of these bowl games right here were CFP games and you had adjusted the schedule to do that, now we have something to talk about. Now eating the Pop-Tart means something, but I just think that this is like at the top here where they've underlined up 13%. Like, that's cool, man. And for ESPN, you're making money and that's great. And I totally respect that. But that doesn't mean that I was just foaming at the mouth for more meaningless bowl games. That's the problem. And
No.
I get it. If you're a regular fan who, if you're unlike Oak State James, if you're the opposite of TCU Horny James, and you just follow one team and your team is in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, let's say, or whatever it might be, and you're excited about that, I get it. But for a lot of people, it doesn't matter. We're here for games of consequence, not games of the celebration of football, essentially. Like, that's
and
it's
again,
just different.
I just think if you're a fan, like I get it. I get it. Yes, Jay, the immeasurable eye test, a hilariously inconsistent concept. The eye test isn't real. I think the solution here is, sure, go to 16. I don't want to hear from the 17th and 18th fan bases. Oh, we got hosed, Monty. We got so hard, Monty. Okay. Cool. Like, I just don't think It's when does the endless complaining stop? Never. It's never going to be good enough, in my opinion. And I just, anyway, Big Blue Horses, Miami lost early and got in. They did not lose early. I think their first loss was that Louisville game. Notre Dame, Bethune. Oh, they lost to Bethune-Cookman. No, they didn't. South Florida. Remember the South Florida story? Florida State. Yeah, Louisville. They lost to Louisville. Their first loss was middle of October.
Bro. Yeah.
They didn't lose early. And then they lost 2 or 3 to Louisville and in SMU. It's not, listen, and I think you're referencing back to the outrage from the committee, and the outrage is the inconsistency. SMU losing at home to BYU, but SMU getting in over BYU. It's that kind of thing. It's not Alabama's fault. Oh, there's an SEC bias. No, there's not. Who's putting Notre Dame in over Alabama? Not me. And you know why? Because Alabama plays a far more difficult schedule.
Yeah.
It's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. This is like Michigan fans saying, oh, we didn't want Kalen DeBoer. Yeah, you did. Yes, you did. You were desperate for Kalen DeBoer. Stop. Like, I understand everybody hates Alabama except Jake, who's an Alabama fan. Or no, you want to throat Dan Lanning, which is fine. Yeah, it's fine. You know, are you an Oregon fan or are you an Alabama fan? Dan's a good coach.
He is. He is a good coach. You don't think that Dan Lanning is a good coach?
I think Dan Lanning's unproven.
Okay.
This team, I'm telling you, this team at Oregon, if they lose, it's underachieving. You've got every asset possible.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Including Jake's throat to Dan Lanning.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Big Daddy Magic. So I go on vacation for 2 weeks. Did not look at my DMs one time. It was glorious. Big Daddy Magic sends me a message saying I'm ignoring him and I reported him to Instagram because he got that, that notice everybody gets on Instagram that says keep our environment positive and uplifting.
Don't be an absolute hater who just says negative stuff.
Don't be a fucking jerk off. And let's that notice that everybody sees. He got that on a DM he sent to me and he's like, oh, you reported me. I can't believe it.
F around and find out.
Dude, I've been eating croissants in Paris for 2 weeks. I haven't thought about anybody. No offense. None of you made the Monty brain function the last 2 weeks. And my depression over being back here today should be an indicator.
Bruh.
Anyway. Hey, I got the devil voice.
Oh, yeah, that's my guy. Pew Beer Mike. He's got pubes on his face. All right.
Yes, you got this.
It's iconic, bro. It's absolutely iconic.
Apparently, 8.7 million cared enough to watch that sweet pastry homicide. Yeah, dude. And again, for BYU fans, BYU, and I know that everybody says, well, it's just different here, Monty. You got to come to Starkville. It's just different with me and my sister and all of our kids. Totally get that. Totally get that. I understand butter knives in the state. Nope, can't do it. Anyway,
Timothy.
BYU fan on a meaningless bowl game road trip, that's just different. They go to every Chuckarama. What the restaurant that changed their logo and got everybody Old Country Buffet, is that, or what was the name of it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Old Country Cracker Barrel.
No, Cracker Barrel. Dude, they hit BYU fan is the single largest consumer of Cracker Barrel beef gravy that you've ever seen. I want
my gravy, Monty.
Hey, boy.
Me and my 10 kids.
Hey, boy. Yeah, dude, it's a way of life, right? It's a way of life. Oh, look, my auto insurance is about to expire and we can get you a competitive rate.
I actually
I'm
saved
sure
a bunch of money going to State Farm. I'm not going to lie.
Shut up, Jake. The point is, BYU fan loves the Caravan. They've all got their fifth wheels and their huge diesel pickup trucks destroying the Great Salt Lake. Let's do this. Right? We get it. Outside of BYU, hey, man. And BYU fan is going to be like, oh, dude, we had 8 million people. For hell's sake, will you make a time and stick with it? What does that mean? What does that mean? BDM had a case of Monty withdrawal syndrome. I think he did. Did you bring me a croissant? No.
No.
Monty, how could you go to France and you don't bring me a croissant? How come you didn't? I'm over here pouring out my bottle with Buc-ee's and you don't even bring me a croissant.
Yeah, I mean, are Buc-ee's croissants the same as croissants in Paris?
Shut up, Jake. But my point is, listen, I would have really liked a French croissant, but no, you didn't do that. And now, as a TCU fan, I'm horny with frogs, and that's a crime in my zip code.
Anyway, okay. My only big complaint was the CFP committee did not release the data from the so-called metrics used. Well, dude, listen, the Epstein files are heavily redacted, and we don't know why.
Except they were able to be unredacted.
Look. Anyway. So is Jake now sponsored by State Farm? Where's his khakis? Are you like checking out his crotch rocket here? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I don't need you throat slamming, dude. We're good. We're good.
I think he means that you went back to mornings. Yes, we did. And it's very early. It's very early. It's fine. It's fine. Jake, how I shouldn't even ask this question. If I ask this question, it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause problems. Do you believe that the College Football Playoff Committee got it right or wrong? Do you believe, now that we are sitting here and we are headed for the semifinals, do you believe the College Football Playoff Committee got it right or got it wrong?
I still don't like the JMU selection. Tulane, you can kind of write a narrative about, but I think that Oregon playing JMU in the first round is kind of embarrassing. No disrespect to Dan, but like I just think that's a practice game for them. That's not even a competitive game. To me, did they get it right or did they get it wrong? Well, Alabama looking like absolute ass and Ty Simpson getting benched when you were down and the game was well over in like the beginning of the third quarter. Yeah, probably not a great look, dude. Probably doesn't help the narrative that maybe Notre Dame should have been in over Bama or whatnot. Now, I think as far as Miami goes, Miami beating Ohio State solidified that the CFP got it right. That Miami was the better team. Yeah, well, yeah, because I think that, again, we can make excuses, but the reality is Miami beat Ohio State and they didn't cheat. They won fair and square, like everything's good. So I think that Notre Dame's situation is not what they wanted it to be, right? You made a deal that said if you were ranked, at a certain stage, you would start to get in, but that doesn't kick in until this coming season.
Right.
So you're in a position this year right now where you needed to win the games that mattered and you didn't. And that's the bed you died on, ultimately. Your season died when you lost to Miami. That's just what it was. When you didn't make that play around the goal line, you decided to watch him catch that ball, your season died. And you were making excuses the rest of the year. And that's the problem. And I sit here and I will... there's just no getting around it. We can sit here and say that the people are going to say, oh, the committee got it wrong and this and that. Well, the reality is that Notre Dame's got a unique situation. Notre Dame made the schedule they made and set up a season the way they set it up. And it's just not that difficult to understand. It's just not. I don't think that the committee got it entirely wrong. I think everyone's got a different take on it. And that's the problem with the system.
Without the data to support their decision, it was flawed and corrupt. Corrupt is probably strong. Flawed, absolutely. Jake sleeps with that vest.
That's a brand, bro.
Could be. Could be. Absolutely could be. BYU should have been in my opinion. And there's an argument for that. Certainly. I think the hardest part, and this is the argument that's going to be tough to get away from. Losing to Texas Tech twice. And when I say losing to Texas Tech, you got curb stomped.
Yeah, dominated.
Twice. In my opinion, Bear Bachmeier was a non-competitive quarterback against the best team they saw. That really hurt them. Really, really hurt them. Chewy Gonzalez, back doing mornings now. Yes. Yes, it was a year of afternoons, and now the football season's over. We'll probably change again at some point. Jake is very fickle in his emotions. Old Miss in Miami in the underdog upset bowl game. Hey, man. I love the way Miami plays football. I really, really do. Based on current rules, would Jake have put Duke in over JMU? No. Duke is not. This argument is tough for me as well, because I think that the hard part about the G5 is they're not competitive in the playoff. And people want to point to Boise at Autzen or whoever you want to point to. They're not competitive in the playoff, because you start looking at the fact, you look at Kyle Whittingham hiring a co-defensive coordinator to be his safety coach, I think it is, at Michigan. What does that tell you? That you are constantly the feeder system. You cannot possibly contain any sort of continuity when Tyler Stockton is the safeties coach at Michigan after being the co-defensive coordinator at Boise State. How are you supposed to consistently compete? You're not. And as I told you exclusively on this show 2 weeks ago, all the G5 commissioners are on board with creating a playoff structure for the G5. And it's exactly what should happen. And I understand that G5 fans get upset with that. And I'm sure Angry Phil's going to light me up on Twitter about UNLV. And I get it. It's not perfect for everybody. There's no such thing as perfect for everybody. JMU and Tulane had no business being in the college football playoff. BYU, Notre Dame, Texas, pick your poison of the team that got left out, are all significantly better than JMU and Tulane. That's the reality of it. Both those teams, where did their coaches go? To the P4. I don't know how you fix it other than you stop humiliating these kids who have busted their ass with the resources that they have that simply are not on par with the P4, and they cannot compete. It's a tune-up game, and it's unfair to Ohio State to have a tune-up game for Miami. Or you look at these brackets, and it's probably a bad example, Miami, but you look at these brackets, right? I mean, Ole Miss had a tune-up game against Tulane. Oregon had a tune-up game against JMU. Texas Tech did not. Alabama, by the way, do I get any love for telling you that Oklahoma is not a national championship juggernaut? They lost to Alabama. Oh, fire on this. We didn't want him anyway. Michigan fan is such a jackass. But Ole Miss played a tune-up game against JMU. Were they more ready to play the game against Georgia than Georgia was ready to play that game against Ole Miss? Unquestionably. It's not fair. How many weeks on the show have I told you that Texas A&M was not elite? And Mike Elko wants to bitch and moan about closing the door and not want to hear the celebration and let's be professional and shut up. Be better. Be a better football team. It's just amazing to me that we look at this thing here And we're all like, oh, yeah, this is the best system. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it is not. And the G5 deserves better. G5 fan bases deserve better. Give them their own playoff. Give them their own playoff.
It's not hard to understand, dude. And I think that, if you have your own playoff, you can get paid more money. And that's what needs to happen.
This show is not a democratic republic. They also not be taken out because someone wants their oil. Listen, we're running that country until we're not, but then we are, and it's not. And it's not oil. Okay. Matt Muldoon. I'm rooting for coked out Michael Irvin.
Bro, dude.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Damn.
Bro, you and I both know. You're 87 years old and you've got a six-pack. Something's keeping that metabolism high. It's great. Now you want to have the G5 to kick around anymore. Now you want the target is going to be on the Big 12 and the ACC's back. It already is. It already is. I think Texas Tech and BYU are showing you how to build programs in the Big 12. Got to spend money. Cody Campbell, your biggest donor, is on the old tweet machine last night celebrating Brendan Sorsby. That's the model, dude. That's how the game is played now.
Yes.
And Mike Smith is gonna
hate this one. You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it. Because Jake is gonna throat slam you.
The iconic saying from last year,
right?
That Mike was pissed about.
You don't have to like it, but you better learn to love it. Because Cody Campbell and Ryan Smith are showing you how to build programs. Texas Tech and BYU have almost nothing in common. Well, they both like tortillas because Cafe Rio. But my point is, they both have dynamic donors who spend a lot of money. And the AJ DeBanza is the best player in college basketball, and he's black and he plays at BYU. Well, it's because Joey Smith climbed into his heart and soul and spoke to him and said, come and find your salvation in Provo with Provo Dave. And AJ was like, what is there to talk about? No, it's the money. It's the money. BYU paid him. Oh, but Monty, he wants to be a member. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He wants to play basketball and get paid a lot. And he's playing basketball and he's getting, the education. He ain't going to school, man. Come on. G5 inclusion in the CFP is legal protection. Yeah, and it should change. Kurt Myers, James, go back to charting. Wow.
Why does everybody hate me on this show?
Here's why everybody is hating on him right here.
Can you do a poll? Guys, I have an idea for the show. Director of content over here, this guy, right here.
Shut the James.
See, why do you have to do that? That was uncalled for, Morty. Guys. So hey, guys.
Look.
Let's do a poll. If the other people in Monty Nation...
Monty Nation?
What the hell is Monty Nation?
I won't say anything else. If they agree with me, we're all going to Buc-ee's and getting some beef. Please do a poll. Mornings versus afternoons. I've been a member for 31 months.
You're not getting the whole thing today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Oh. Wow, you walked right into that one. His parents moved to Provo. I mean, who doesn't like looking at Timpanogos?
Wow.
It's fine. Rock and Rant, I love the G5 playoff idea, except for all the reports that they thought they were going to get more money from being a little part of this playoff. And then with putting their own playoff out in the market, I think that my opinion has remained unchanged. We do not need to change the dates of the college football playoff. We do not need to play a championship game on New Year's Day. What needs to happen is you need to have the G5 have a playoff game in a playoff system so that by New Year's Day, their champion is crowned and they have a week to get ready to be. If you want to put the champion of the G5 in, great. You're really relying on Jimmy, the soccer writer, to tell me who the highest ranked G5 conference champion is. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. That's not happening. You know, when the hell did James become the Monty Show producer?
Listen, UCF loser. Let me tell you something. As a TCU fan, you don't know anything about winning games. We beat Michigan when Michigan was cheating. And I didn't even know they were a team at that point, TCU. I'll be honest with you. I was so drunk on the Cowboys and both Dallas and that former team I don't talk about anymore. I miss Ollie Gordon so much.
Suck at a ding dong.
Hey, run some stairs for me, will you, while you're at it?
The real awkward guy, director of semen demonology.
That's my guy, James. He's got my demon semen, baby. Rectory my ass, quite literally.
TCU James live from Monty Copter 67. Yeah, James, be back here. By the way, James, just for you, we're going to do a show this afternoon. Be right here. And just
You fucking donkey.
we'll be. I probably. Ted, BYU is not afraid of anyone. Well,
Hey,
thanks
Ted.
for clarifying. We thought they were. I mean, who says BYU scared of somebody? What do you mean by that? The G5 playoff idea is a really good one. That's why they're working on it. Mike Smith, who's been a member for 21 months, had the first comment of 2026. You don't have to like me, but you do love me.
You got to read it in the voice. You got to read it in the voice.
Oh, let me tell you something about love, Mike.
Okay. Kurt Myers, Monty, you keep sniffing glue and your voice is going to stay that way.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
Nope. Chewy Gonzalez, a member for 13 months. Let's go. LSU getting that oil money from Venezuela. Hey, man, listen.
Guys.
Is there anybody who really thinks Maduro?
It's actually not that easy, but for me, it was easy.
Donald Trump and Marco Rubio saying completely different things about what we're doing with Venezuela has to be the win of the weekend.
So I said, yeah.
Donald Trump says we're running Venezuela. Well, we're not running. So let me get that. Marco Rubio says that now that you've removed Maduro and his wife and his son, that his government is still in place and they're the ones running. So wait, you toppled what you actually did is you flew in, broke into his bedroom, had him put on his underoos, and then you flew him to New York. Well, flew him to a boat that drove him to New York. So you took a guy out of his bedroom with his wife and his kid in their underwear, and then you left the rest of his government in place. So what was the point? But you're not. And then Rubio says they're not. The United States, we are not running that country. Donald Trump, we're running that country.
The lie
And the
detector
China-
test determined that was a lie.
And did anybody see what Xi in the Chinese said? Oh, hey, this does not absolve Venezuela or the United States of paying the debt that Venezuela owes us. This is, I don't, yeah. Legitimately, it would be great to have a Cinderella story in the CFP. Okay. But realistically, there's no way a G5 team has the talent to keep up with a P4, let alone the Blue Bloods who get chosen. This is true. I don't think any of us would hate if, again, the Montessori School of Greater Cleveland Heights somehow found a way to get to the national championship game, and it would be the story of the year. The story of the year. But what are the when you have no assets or resources to even compete with Texas Tech, who can't even compete at the top of college football? You're telling me that you're going to, you know how impossible that is? You can get lucky and catch somebody on a day. It's why we play the games, all that stuff. It's why we play the games.
Yes.
Come on. Alpha Buckeye, Democrat enabled fraud. So let me, I know this is common sense. So Republicans that are saying what's going on in Minnesota, which has not been proven, by the way, but whatever, you do to you. You're saying that the Democrats enable fraud. Have you checked the pardon docket? Your boy has pardoned so many fraudsters in the last 3 weeks. And the Democrats, because now I feel like I can say this, and I think I told everybody this a month ago. I'm a registered independent now. I'm no longer a Republican. But your guy, Donald Trump, has pardoned so many fraudsters, and Tim Walz is the biggest enabler of fraud. You're out of your mind, bro. You're out of your mind. Oak State is raiding North Texas lockers. Why do you care about Oklahoma State?
Yeah, you're not an Oklahoma State fan, dude.
They will be better next year with North Texas. Who cares? Who cares? And no, I'm not doing a poll because this is not a democracy. This is not a democracy. I thought this was a Chippewa Falls stenography show. That's what I'm saying.
You know, we try, dude. We try.
You know, I mean,
yeah, we try.
It's we.
Such as like
Mike is right. This is who are you, Xi Jinping? No, this is not a democracy, my guy. You know. Anyway, it's fine. It is what it is. Alpha Buckeye. Tim Walz is dropping his government bid for a reason. Who cares about Tim Walz? Because I don't. If you're listen, you cannot. And this is part of the argument that I think we have in this country. You have a guy in the White House and Donald Trump who has pardoned trillions now of dollars in restitution for people who committed real fraud. And you're going after Tim Walz. Alpha, you can't, it doesn't work that way, my guy. It does not work that way. You can't do that. You can't talk about the fact that we went and kidnapped a president of a country with his wife and his kid. And then have your Secretary of State saying his regime is still in place and we're not running the country while the president is tweeting about how we're running the country and we're going to take all of the oil out of the ground there. It doesn't work that way. You know. How much money will James pay for a pill that Monty and Jake would ignore anyway? Probably a lot. You know, real question. What is the real reason you went to mornings? Well, because it's better for our show. That's why we went to mornings.
By the way, I just would like to point out, if it's such a bad thing, then how are you here listening now? I mean, if you can only listen in the afternoons, right? I mean,
I just changed.
Like, it's not a big deal.
It to me, listen, we don't do anything that does not benefit the show and the greater good of the show and growing the show. Why would I do something that is bad for the show? If you have to ask why I went to mornings, in the non-football season, our numbers are significantly better earlier in the day.
And by the way, 7,000 people watching the show right now would point that out.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's not rocket science. The numbers and the demos are much better January to August in the morning. And we probably will not go back in the afternoon. I like playing golf and lifting weight.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. The real awkward guy. Better watch out with that, Monty. Donnie will send them Blackhawks to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sleep nude. So just, probably too much. And had such a good show going. I effing hate politics in my sports. We don't talk much politics on the show.
Yeah. We try not to.
Yeah, we really try to stay.
The Venezuela thing is just funny to me. Just the whole. Well,
I don't even think it's funny. Is an interesting word. It is terrifying to me because I think I'm a big believer in precedent. I think when you go argue something, you better have. Well, this happened previously. That's why I did this. We have no precedent for swooping into a country and taking a dictator, his wife, and his son, putting them on a ship and then flying them to New York. We have no precedent for that. And I mean, the closest I guess you could get is Manuel Noriega. But we're not doing this for narco, bro. That's the other thing. This is not a narco terrorism thing. This is an oil thing. So, memes about Donnie and you can. It's fine. Seaman Demon James doesn't want to waste his morning wood on the Monty Show. Listen, I appreciate James is as much as we joke about
James, James is my guy. He has his own voice on the show.
You got to get stroked.
Right.
I mean, he's even got Oak State. Now I'm TCU. James even has his own picture. He sent us this selfie of himself. Oh, wait, wrong one. My bad.
Kiss my butt.
Like James is our guy. He just, mornings is okay, but afternoons is better for me. I can do both, so I will adjust. Still, Eric, we appreciate that. Didn't we do that in Panama? Nah, to a lesser extent. Manuel Noriega is really he's the guy. Is Aaron Glenn getting fired today from the Jets? No, Aaron Glenn will be back. Aaron will be back. I think the news this morning, and I'm just reading a bunch of people texting me about Stefanski. They apparently, wow, is that true? That Pep Guardiola is going to step down from Manchester City and they're going to take former Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca, who was fired by Chelsea last week. I was at the Aston Villa Chelsea match in London. Terrible performance. That'll be interesting. So there's that going on. But there is all kinds of talk about Stefanski versus Barry versus the ownership behind the scenes and this fight over Shedeur Sanders. And I think the lack of any quality quarterback play under Kevin Stefanski should be studied. He did not want to play Shedeur Sanders. And as much as Shedeur had some moments, Shedeur Sanders was not good this year. There is this belief that somehow Shedeur Sanders didn't earn a thing. Shedeur Sanders was not good.
Yeah, but he was the best of what they had. And at least he had moments.
Shedeur, I don't think there's any question he is the best quarterback to develop moving forward. Right? There's no doubt about that. But they're not developing quarterback talent under Kevin Stefanski, who's known as a guy that develops quarterback talent.
Well, and I think it's the whole him being at odds with the front office thing too. I mean, that to me is like, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think if you're going to fire him, that to me is the biggest reason to fire him. I mean, successful football teams, it's very clear. Ownership, GM, and head coach are all in alignment about what they want to do. You know, and that's just not at play in Cleveland, and frankly, it hasn't been in play for years now. So I mean, again, I don't.
Their mistake goes back to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Huge mistake to let him go. You've never improved it. Deshaun Watson.
But
what
again,
do I even
the
have to
Baker
say
thing's
about
a good example of what you're saying, though, right? I mean, Baker goes to Tampa, and all of a sudden earlier this year was competing to be the front runner for an MVP. I mean, obviously it didn't quite work out, but played his ass off. So, I just think that whether Stefanski wanted to play Shedeur or not, that's
it almost doesn't. It almost doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's an indication of how dysfunctional Barry and Stefanski were.
1,000%.
Right. So, and you just can't have that.
And I'm curious,
you simply cannot have that.
We're seeing all this video about Deshaun practicing now, and what they do with Deshaun will be very telling about like where the front office is and like where ownership is at with the whole thing. Because if you went through all of that and you paid him all that money and he did all those things and then the Achilles and then redoing
and the Achilles again.
Yeah, like it just I don't know, man. At some point you have to have, like, all the great NFL franchises have a standard, right? And this is where I say, like, the Cleveland Browns just don't have that standard right now. And I don't even know who you're going to go. Like, again, the first telling move will be who are you going to go and hire? Because that's going to tell us what, like, where you're at philosophically. Yeah.
I would hire Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a pretty solid spot at that point, I would think.
Yeah. Delaric, was Sanders not good because he's not the solution, or because he was not given help to get there? All of it. I think Shedeur Sanders has a lot of proving to do. And this is a critically important offseason for him. I think Dillon Gabriel got every ounce of support and development that Cleveland had, and he was not good at all. Shedeur was, and again, I'm going to pat myself on the back because I was telling you, Dillon Gabriel is a left-handed quarterback that's not big enough to play in the league. He is a forever backup. Shedeur Sanders has the talent, mainly because he's accurate, and at times he makes quick decisions. He needs in-depth, real coaching to break, and this is what scares you if you're a Cleveland fan. He created so many bad habits through a lack of coaching and development that you are going to have to untrain that dog.
And I just think he hasn't had enough reps to be a good quarterback in the league yet. That's the other problem. That's why I think the whole Dillon Gabriel thing was such an issue, because you were robbing Shedeur Sanders of valuable reps in a season that was already lost.
He had never. Do you understand and this is well documented, but the false start issues he had in his first start? Do you guys remember what the old lineman said? We've never heard his voice. We've never heard his cadence. Wait, what? They'd never heard his voice. They never heard his cadence because he's never practiced or gotten reps with the first team.
And so why do you think you saw him all that video on social media of him after practice throwing and doing all those things? Because he had to. I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't necessarily disagree that he wasn't great, but I guess I just genuinely, I feel positively about what Shedeur did overall, given the lack of practice reps, given the lack of game reps, and given the lack of belief.
Development, the lack of film study. And I'm sure you guys know this, but do you understand how little development the number 2 quarterback on an NFL roster gets? He isn't getting in-depth film study. He isn't getting intricate, in-depth mechanical tutoring during the week. So all of the people that were ripping Shedeur Sanders for going and practicing with a high school team, that were saying he's showboating and Shedeur never posted that video. Who was posting that video? The kids were posting that video. If there's 100 reps, the number 2 guy is probably getting 15 reps out of 100. You're getting no in-depth film study. You are getting no mechanical work. You are getting no, the intricacies of language and cadence and pitch inside of an offense is make or break. He's getting none of that and got none of that. Sanders thrived in a playground offense at Colorado. No, you know what it was at Colorado? It was an offense built to play to his strengths with wide receiver talent that was elite, that was simply faster, and he is so accurate. When you're completing 75% of your passes, I mean, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, that to me is, if I'm in that Cleveland front office right now, that's why I would be investing in Shedeur, both through hires and the talent you put around him. Because if you can get him 2 years from now, because again, you're going to hire a new coach, which means new OC, like new system or whatever. Like, you got to get him studied on that system so he feels confident with what he's doing when that play call comes in. And again, I think Caleb Williams is a great case study of this. Think about Caleb Williams' path here, right? You talk about film study, like all the nonsense on the bench and during the week, not watching film with Caleb Williams. And now all of a sudden, here we are, and you're competing for the 2 seed yesterday. And yeah, not a great showing, but way better than you were last year at any time. Like a million miles better than you were at any time last year, because you have a better system with better coaches that believe in what you're doing. And that's what I think Shedeur just hasn't had that yet. And I think that I would rather have, honestly, in my heart of hearts, I'd rather have Shedeur than JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy is now a complete bust. I think we all recognize that. Crying on the sideline yesterday, apologizing because he got hurt again. He's a bust. Yeah. JJ's not an NFL quarterback. But I think the thing that is so overwhelming and clear is the Cleveland Browns need a direction, and they need to put their foot in the ground and go in that direction. You cannot draft another quarterback here. And they probably will. They probably will. Right? Rock and Rant. They're going to draft a quarterback and he's going to get fired halfway through next season when he's talking about the Jets and Aaron Glenn. You cannot draft a quarterback. They're going to cut Justin Fields this summer. But you cannot, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you 100% cannot draft a quarterback. You need to hire, Mike McCarthy's the perfect hire in Cleveland. He'll put you on just with the roster he's got, he will put you on the verge of being a playoff team. You will be on that line. And then you have got to go and get wide receivers. Like the biggest issue I see there is not even Shador. I think it's a lack of discipline and authority and the wide receivers and tight ends not running the right routes.
Absolutely.
The plays, and Stefanski, I think, as much said this. He would send in a play and the wide receivers just wouldn't run the route combination. They would not run the routes as they were designed. And when you have a quarterback who's a rookie quarterback who tends to hold the ball too long in the beginning, and he's trying to get rid of the football quicker, but the wide receivers all want to go deep. You have your tight ends trying to run a route that's designed at 7 yards. They're running it to 12 yards. Because what are they all trying to do? They're all trying to get paid. Instead of running the offense as it's designed because you have no discipline. And I think that's a huge problem, man.
Yep.
It's a huge problem.
It's a cancer in your organization.
Sanders does not need to change or work on things. At least that is what was reported by teams during his pre-draft interview. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah,
I don't think that was ever
that. And Mike, you're totally right. I mean, that was the messaging around Shador, that he didn't need to, like, he was solid. They were excited about him. But then just all the drama around with Stefanski and everything. And I just think that this season in the NFL, like, we had this huge discussion before the break about, like, the playoffs and how the playoffs look, and the NFL is finally is going to have a playoff here where the Chiefs aren't present, no Tom Brady. Like, there's going to be a lot of new faces. There's going to be a lot of new venues and new scenes that we haven't seen in the NFL playoffs in quite some time. And I think that the draft and just how this year was set up. I mean, again, what better example of this than the Steelers had an opportunity to draft this kid and chose not to. And he finally gets picked up by the Browns towards the end of the draft after they had already picked up Dylan Gabriel, and they seemingly drafted you for no apparent reason at all. Like, nobody could understand. You picked up Dylan Gabriel. Why are you drafting Shador Sanders? Why are you not drafting O-line or literally any other position? You could have drafted a kicker and that probably would have gone over better. So I just think that the Browns, like the Jets and some of these other dysfunctional organizations are just that. They don't seemingly know what they're doing. And that to me is what's so shocking. I just feel like it's not that difficult to say to yourself as an NFL owner, okay, these are the things we're not good at as an organization. Like, again, Jerry Jones, right? Hey, like, we have too many injuries on defense and we don't have enough depth to back up those injuries. Okay, well, let's take a look at the cap and let's try to make some more room so we can bring in some better depth players that won't cost us an arm and a leg. Like the Steelers, hey, no DK, we got to come up with a better scheme, better game plan. You figured that out yesterday. Okay, great. You're identifying problems. You're fixing those problems. Let's see how far you can take that. The Bears are another good example of that. The 49er performance, I don't know what the hell that was.
Frustrating.
You just didn't show up. You just, like, 3 points is not good enough.
And Caleb played exceptionally well in that game. And that's my frustration, much to Brandon's point. Like, Caleb had a really good year. I think he finished with 24 sacks. That in and of itself, he's not holding the ball too long. And you look at that, he went 0 sacks against Green Bay and San Francisco, and they needed overtime, and then they lost to San Francisco. That throw for an interception yesterday, you can't make that throw.
No.
And the jump was huge. 58% completion has to get better. And he was significantly more accurate.
That play is quintessential to completion percentage. You have a pretty easy defensive concept to see, right? Man over safety. Nope. Like, it's not that hard to understand. You forced that. You had a guy wide open on the right side of the field, probably 15 to 17 yards down the field, not a guy in sight defending him. And you just chose to force it because, and I understand this if you're Caleb Williams, you've been hitting that route a little more consistently lately. You've hit a couple of those bombs to win games and to put points on the board. So I get it. And I agree with what the broadcast said. DJ should have gone up and made more of a play on that. I was a little surprised that he didn't at least try to break it up or try to do something. But the point is that Caleb Williams it might be the best example of a case study where you've got a struggling quarterback in an organization that's never really had a franchise quarterback that now has taken this huge step forward, set the franchise passing record for a single season, done all these great things. What does next year now look like? I mean, I understand the season's not quite over yet, but if you're the Bears, if you're the Browns, if you're the Jets, like, again, if you're the Falcons with that dumpster fire, these decisions every single offseason, we talk about this. And I feel like every time we come back from break, we talk about, man, these teams that are just, yesterday was their last game. What are they going to be doing? I just think it's every year we see this. And I hope, like the Bears, I really hope that they're able to take that next step forward and be a consistent contender for that division and a consistent playoff performer. I would love to see that for them.
And by the way, it does not start with Caleb Williams. It starts with the defense.
Yeah.
I think there's no doubt Max Crosby is on their radar. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's morning, Timothy. I hope you know this. Victor Senior Hanley. Victor is hurt again. He's hurt again. OKC 3 times doubling the loss record of hey. What about this? I do want to talk about Josh Allen and extending this consecutive start thing. How cowardly is this? Like taking one snap so that he can say his consecutive starts record continues.
Mm-hmm.
This is like celebrating Myles Garrett breaking Michael Strahan's record. You didn't break Michael Strahan's record. You're the all-time sack leader in a 17-game season. Right? Josh Allen taking one snap and then saying he's got a consecutive start record is ridiculous.
Would you agree if Myles Garrett had done that in 16 games, then you can say that?
Yes.
If he had broken that record in 16 games, even though it's a 17-game season.
Yes. And we've been heading for this for weeks.
Yeah.
And I will just, the 17-game stats have to have an asterisk. And I think you have to put it in a different era. Because Caleb Williams becoming the all-time passing leader for the Bears, which, as was said earlier, it's not that impressive.
Yeah.
You should have had 4,500 yards, but you're completing 60% of your passes. Right? I just, come on. San Francisco can't sack anybody right now. Seattle's line beat the Niners D all night. Well, because in my opinion, the Seattle Seahawks are the best team in the NFC. And I am not sure that San Francisco has what it takes to win. And when we start looking at matchups, and I don't think anybody is surprised by that outcome. I really do not. And I think the Niners being a 6 is an incredibly difficult road. Bears, Packers at Soldier Field, I don't want to hear a single excuse. If you don't beat the Packers, I don't want to hear a single excuse.
Yeah.
Because I think the Seahawks are over and above anybody else in the NFC. And I think you're probably going to see Rams, Seahawks, and probably Eagles and Bears would be my guess.
I don't have a lot of confidence in the Eagles, man.
Well, if you can't rush Jalen Hurts, he'll pick you apart. And the 49ers can't get to the quarterback right now.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
So,
but wouldn't put past the Eagles to mess it up, dude.
Well, I mean, there's dysfunction there, certainly. But I think there's a huge problem there. Huge problem there, in my opinion. But are we 61ing Myles Garrett? I am. I don't think there's any. I'm 61ing Barry Bonds. Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin are staying in Cincinnati. Wow. Bro, that is such a that's such a Cincinnati thing to do. Zach Taylor returns to Cincinnati. That's a bad decision. That is a bad. I'm not even sure that Zach Taylor wants to be there. That's a bad decision. Cincinnati deserves better. Wow. I'm really surprised by that. That's probably too much, but I feel like that's a huge mistake.
You're playing with fire as far as Joe Burrow is concerned, man. I'm not sure that dude, I'm being serious. I'm not sure that dude can absorb another bad year. Another just non-competitive, playing wasteful football.
He has Andrew Luck written all over him.
Yep. Made a bunch of money, set for life. Let
me go run Stanford football.
Yeah.
The Steelers were gifted a win last night. That throw by Aaron Rodgers was not a gift. And we opened the show joking about this. But I don't think that was a gift at all. I think Aaron Rodgers made a throw to win them that game. And you can't miss that field goal. And this field goal thing, I think the NFL, this kickoff change has absolutely destroyed the NFL. Because if you're going to have 68-yard field goals being made, do you guys understand what that means? That if you take a kickoff and you get it spotted at the 35, you've only got to go 15 yards to kick a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the percentage of make on a 68-yard field goal? Who knows?
Kickers are better, though.
But we're seeing 67, 68-yard field goals now.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stop. I have no problem with guys kicking 67-yard field goals. You can't give them the ball at the 35-yard line. You can't do that. Sorry. Josh Allen only had one snap, I think is what you mean, because he wanted to hear his newborn baby's heartbeat at the hospital. No, he's a coward. That's why. That is so weak, in my opinion. It is so weak. Josh Allen's too good of a quarterback to be worried about a consecutive game streak. It's weak, bro. And don't get me started. Cincinnati put pasta in their chili. Are we really surprised they are in the bad decision business? No, we're probably not. We're probably not. Mike Smith, I'm happy for Darnold had to go through that quarterback hell of the Jets that ruins careers and came out to find glory. And it's because Shanahan and KO got to him. And I think it's huge. Newest member of the Monty Show is PSG Gabriel. I was actually and this is going to sound like a lot of bragging. I almost threw up in Paris. I literally, my wife saved me because I went into that den of awfulness known as the PSG store on the Champs- Élysées in Paris.
Garbage.
And I almost threw up all over those too scared to play in the Premier League jerseys. That they have at the. I hate PSG. I love Paris. I hate PSG. PSG Gabriel, welcome back. Good to see you, my friend. Since he has to use the Skyline chili on pasta because Skyline chili is runny hot dog sauce and not real chili. Okay. Skyline chili is nasty, runny sauce with cinnamon in it. Okay. I got to tell you though, you know what I did not miss about American food? All the salt. So in Paris and London, you don't get a lot of heavy salt in your food, almost at all. We came back. Everything in America is super salty. Super salty. And I just don't love it. What did PSG do to you, Cavani? Simple as that. I hate PSG. I'm a Chelsea Football Club fan, and we're struggling right now. Still haven't hired a manager, but, who needs a manager when you're... How about my guy Enzo pulling back a point? That was so incredible yesterday. My wife, it's 0-0. And my wife and I are just chilling in the cut. And I was sitting on my couch. And I pulled my wife to sit on my lap. She sits down, City scores. I threw her on the floor. I'd had enough.
You got anything to say, quite frankly, fuck you.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. But what Monty did not miss in Euro is ground turkey. Dude, my wife, the wife
elite trolling, bro.
made ground turkey last night. It is so good. I went to the old QFC, which is the grocery store of choice here in Bellevue, Washington.
The QFC.
Yes, it's such a good grocery store. First of all, I get home Friday and we got to talk about train travel in Europe. So I go to London. I go Paris for a week, London for 4 days, Paris for 4 days. I get to London. We take the train. It was amazing. I get to the train station in London to go back to Paris. The tunnel, the Euro tunnel, they call it, is closed. The power's out. Canceled our train ticket. They just canceled. So we got to pay $800 to get on a flight on Swiss Air to get back to Paris. What? And then we had issues getting from the airport to our Airbnb, which we got to talk about Airbnbs versus hotels now.
Well, what was the issue getting to the Airbnb?
The trains were just effed. The trains weren't running on time. They were late. They were packed. Bro, my feet hurt so bad the night I got back to Paris because you're just standing and it's freezing cold. Like, it was tough, dude. But the trains, when they're right in Europe, are amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Euro countries also do not use a ton of sugar in their bread, dude. My main staple ingredient in my meals was crepes. You just give me crepes with sliced bananas, it's over. It was so good. The food in London's not a food town. Outside of Mr. Chow's, because Mr. Chow was off the charts. The best restaurant I've ever been to. Outside of that, the food's not great. The food in Paris is actually decent. Paris is a food town. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Paris. Paris is now my favorite city. I'm going to Rome next year. I don't care if I've got to chop off my toes and go Dion. I'm going to Rome. And I'm telling you, that the food in Europe is not great.
No.
There are some things
the Parisian take on cooking steak is awful. Like their philosophy on everything needs to be rare as possible is not my flavor, dude. Like we learned quickly that medium cooked steak does not exist in Paris.
Yeah, we got some prime rib and asked for it medium well, and the bartender, when we ordered it, booed. We walked into a speakeasy. He went, boo. And then they brought it out medium rare. And the steak tartare, which basically is ground beef, raw, mixed with other ingredients. Nah, bro.
Biologics.
That is so disgusting.
Nasty, dude.
Oh. I have been tracking my nutrition lately. Everything has so much sodium. I am totally in the red before I hit lunch. I am eating U.S. healthy. Yeah, you got to cut out the sodium.
Yeah.
It is. Cap Sizzle, is QFC better than Harmon's? Yeah, I think it is. I really do. I am a salt fiend. America is. 800, what now? Yeah, ridiculous. It was so expensive. So expensive. Time for you guys to plan a vacation back to Utah and join me at BYU Notre Dame game. Maybe. I am all about next year. I'm all about Notre Dame, Miami at the stadium. Although it's way cheaper to go to BYU, but not out of the question. Must have been terrible luck as well as the power went out is ridiculous. Yeah, apparently they cut a power cable in the tunnel. was brutal. London food is overrated, dude. Mr. Chow is.
What did you eat there?
Oh, I had spare ribs. I had. God, what else did I have in Mr. Chow? My wife had this crispy duck. That was
duck is everywhere in Europe, by the way.
Oh,
and there's
man,
multiple
crispy duck
versions of it.
I can't remember what I ate. I had the medallions. That's right. I had the medium well medallions that were, bro. I everything at Mr. Chow was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, that's right. We went to a steakhouse. It happened to be that my sister-in-law was in London at the same time we were, so we had a meal together. And we went to the steak place that was incredible. But other than that, it's just trashy bar food, like fish and chips or
burgers are everywhere, dude.
Yeah, I don't understand why Europeans love cheeseburgers so much. The Five Guys phenomenon across Europe is ridiculous. It is so huge there.
They have Five Guys in Paris that are 3 stories tall. Literally 3-level tall Five Guys, and they're packed every floor.
And Jake did not find a chicken burrito.
La Poulette burrito.
Yeah. Mr. Chow must not have been that impressive if you can't remember what you ate. Dude, you know how much food? I do remember what I ate, but I'm trying not to cross the streams. But even their strawberry mousse, oh my God. That was the dessert I had. Oh my God. The medallions were awesome. The service at Mr. Chow was incredible. Just incredible. You know, what for a country that controlled most of the world and transported all the species to their country, they never learned to use
spices.
Spices. Okay. Yeah. The food in Europe is pretty bland. You know, actually, it makes sense why Gordon Ramsay became a world chef. I mean, my God, I would be disgusted if I had to eat fish and chips all day. Dude, it's all over London. All over London. I mean, what about drinks? I sipped Jameson Irish whiskey the entire time. My wife had some great drinks.
Mm-hmm.
The drinks in Europe are easy.
They drink their ass off. And I mean, just culturally speaking in Paris, it is the norm. Like, it's just what you do, that you will not walk while you eat. You will sit down and enjoy your meal. Typically, meals are 2 to 3 hours long. They're not going to rush you off your table. And it is culturally accepted that you will drink something during your meal. Like, and I don't mean water. I mean like wine or like some type of alcohol.
Alcohol is in the culture and they give it to you first.
Yeah.
They make sure that you're,
They want you to wine and dine.
Yeah. What's Europe's thought on roller food? Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of roller food in Europe, dude.
Although in Paris, the gas station we went to was pretty incredible. I mean, it was, I think the food in Paris is fantastic. Although Disneyland Paris was a massive bust.
Agreed.
Disneyland Paris was not. I'm not, and again, I want to make this, I'm not a Disneyland guy. I'll go. My wife likes it. I'll go. I thought Disneyland in Paris, one, it's for short people. I'm 6'3". I couldn't even get on 2 or 3 of these roller coasters because they're just, the guy literally said 6'2" and under.
Yeah.
Most of the rides were, with the exception of Tower of Terror, with the exception of Tower of Terror, which was a great ride. It's a Small World was a pretty cool ride, but
Pirates.
Yeah, Pirates sucked. Other than, I mean, it's not. I would
not recommend building a trip around Disneyland Paris. I would not do that.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's super expensive. It's what I say about Disneyland all the time. Super expensive, overcrowded. I will say that. One, forget about the fact how cold it was. I mean, just so cold.
Yeah.
But on New Year's Eve, we were on a boat on the River Seine. in Paris. And it was an amazing time. We sat with these two women that probably were really struggling to find dudes. It's kind of an interesting story. But we sat with these two lovely ladies. Mrs. Monty and I enjoyed a very average meal. But when the cruise was over, there were no fireworks at the Eiffel Tower or...
Oh, that was the other thing, not to interrupt you. Fireworks are silent in France because they don't like loud things.
Yeah, and you guys didn't even believe me about that.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah. I believed you. I didn't doubt you. But
yeah, the fireworks at Disneyland Paris are silent.
Yeah.
But so we're done with our cruise and the streets were absolutely mobbing. Like you could not move. We had an Uber set up, couldn't get the Uber. So we got in one of these bicycle taxis. This fucking guy. I felt so bad for this guy. It was probably 28, 29 degrees out. It was breezy, so the breeze was cutting. This dude is pedaling this taxi with my fat ass back there, my wife, and he takes us 3 miles back to our Airbnb through all this traffic, through all this humanity, and then couldn't get his credit card reader to work.
Oh, my God.
So it took a few minutes, and we finally figured it out. But it was just an amazing experience. We made memories that I'll never forget. I will not go. The next time I go to Paris will be spring or fall.
Yeah.
I will never go at Christmas time again.
Yeah. The vibe in Paris, you could easily, having been there now when it's winter and brutally cold, you can see how that city and that landscape would thrive when it's warm. You can tell.
I want to go back to Paris in the spring when I can just cafe hop. Because seeing things like Notre Dame was amazing. The Louvre is how it's pronounced.
Could absolutely go back to that again.
Louvre was amazing. Notre Dame was amazing. St. Paul's in London was amazing. Big Ben was amazing. I took a tour of Parliament in London. Amazing. Amazing. The artwork, amazing. The National Museum or whatever it was, amazing. At Trafalgar Square, amazing. Everything in Paris. We took a bike ride on the second to last day we were in Paris. We took a bike ride from the Eiffel Tower. And my wife at this point is dog sick, right? She's got probably some kind of pneumonia. She's coughing up a lung. And we go to the Eiffel Tower. We take all these pictures. And then we get on these 2 Lime bicycles. And we ride the Champs-Élysées around the Arc de Triomphe. It was one of the greatest things I've ever done. And we took a bike ride from breakfast to Notre Dame to see the cathedral in Paris. Amazing. I'll never forget it. But it was so cold. Especially like the first 3 days were fine. From Christmas Eve to the end of that trip was so bitterly cold. I couldn't even describe it. It just changed the dynamic of the trip. And yet the memories that we made on that trip, we didn't buy anything. We bought like a couple of trinkets here or there. Like we drink creatine in these glass cups every morning. We bought a couple of cups at Disneyland. We didn't buy clothes. We didn't buy any of that. We bought experiences, food, restaurants. It was amazing. But we got to talk about Airbnb versus hotels.
Yeah.
Hello? We stayed in an absolute dump of a house and the guy was a complete scammer on Airbnb. Then we go to Paris and we stay in It was great. I have no idea what's going on with.
Yeah, there's some freezing happening. think we might have lost Monty. Yeah, so basically what there you are. Now I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
What on earth is going on?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
You got to start
so
again.
let's talk about Airbnbs. Airbnb versus hotel. The Airbnb at Thanksgiving in LA was an absolute disaster. Like, didn't have any, we had 3 bath towels for 4 people, no pots and pans, an oven that didn't work, an ant infestation, terrible.
Legitimately.
We go to a timeshare in Paris at Disneyland Paris. Awesome. It was, for what it was amazing. Then we move into London. We go to London after that. Stayed in an Airbnb that just frankly was not great. The shower was tiny. It just wasn't great. Then we go back to Paris, and the Airbnb is in an unbelievable location. It is in the heart of the shopping district in Paris, right by Notre Dame, right by all of the amazing. But to get into this place is crazy. It's in a building that's probably, I'm not even joking, it's probably several hundred years old. And it's like a hobbit's cabin. Oh my. You're walking up these stairs, the floors are slanted, the shower is a disaster, the heat doesn't work. And it's just the first night where they were like in there 2 hours, and my wife was like, I'm looking for a hotel. Now, ultimately, we didn't wind up looking for a hotel, and we stayed there. But I think I might be done with Airbnb. And I think probably the smart thing to do is to go into the hotel game. I think that's probably the smartest thing to do. I don't even know how to.
Yeah, it's just I think in the States, Airbnb can be good. It's very hit or miss. I think in Europe, it's a combination of, the Airbnb experience is just totally different because the setup is different. The way they have the room set up, the size of showers, like it's just little things that are baked into European culture that change the way it feels. And so I think that the thing with hotels, though, is that hotels make their money on being consistent, right? Imagine if a hotel was trying to, sell you a suite, but it changed every single time. You obviously wouldn't buy the suite. So hotels are making their money on just being extremely consistent in the experience they give you. And I think that's what the struggle with Airbnb is right now. It used to be that with Airbnb, you could get amenities through getting an Airbnb that you wouldn't get in a hotel, right? Like you would get a better kitchen, you would potentially get like a better bathroom setup that wasn't just like a stock, tub,
it's
shower.
like you're staying in your house. That's the allure of Airbnb.
Yeah, it's more comfortable.
I'm staying in a house. Yeah, I'm staying in a better bed. I'm staying in it. And listen, things like washing machines, washer dryers in Europe are totally different. Okay, in these Airbnbs, they're one unit, and you can't figure it out. That's not the issue. The issue is in London, we're staying in an Airbnb where I don't even know what to say about this shower. And the fact that it's radiator heat and only one radiator works and it's in the bedroom, so you're sleeping and it's 1,000,000 degrees in there, but you step into the living room and it's 20 degrees out there.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. And